All right, you guys. I am kind of super excited about the very first verse that we're going to talk about today because guess what? It's going to blow your mind. Get the blue glasses. Okay, guys. Second Corinthians. Sorry, that I'm not a talking head. Second Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel. For Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Guys, okay. If you have not been listening to all of, well, not all of, but the last handful of Bible studies, go back and listen because we've been talking a lot about how do we show up, plugged in or not plugged in, knowing that we're in right standings or not knowing we're in right standings. And guys, now hear me well, okay? I don't know if there's an actual devil or not. In those consciousnesses, there absolutely is. In reality, I don't know. Anything is possible. Here's the point. Do we exercise acting like a demon? Do we all have monsters inside? Yes, we do. And the point is, when I'm plugged in, that monster in me that I could look at as Satan is transformed into an angel of light by simply plugging in. When I understand that, where is there room for fear? Anything that I fear is evil. I plug it into the light. Guess what it turns into? Light. Guys, catch this. This eliminates the fear. Yeah, so good. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Guys, what this is talking about, if we go back to yesterday's Bible study, we were talking about like people preaching Jesus, people preaching the gospel, plugged in or not plugged in, plugged in or not plugged in. Even if I'm not plugged in and I'm preaching something, right? All I have to do is plug in and then it transforms everything, right? So, therefore, if Satan himself can transform into an angel of light, well then why not me? Why not me? Right? Okay. I say again, let no man think me a fool, if otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. That which I speak it not after the Lord, but as if it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting, seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. Guess what's kind of cool about that, guys? Where is the consciousness of the person that you are trying to love? I remember one time, um, and I think I made a comment like this, and somebody said, I can't listen to your Bible study anymore because you said these things. And I was like, dope, you're not my people, right? But I remember one time having this conversation with my child and trying to give them rightness, right? Trying to help them understand rightness and a right perspective. That was probably better, right? Because they were having this issue with a friend and they're like, but they said this and they said that and la la la. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, but think about how they're thinking and do this and do that, right? And John was like, has after the conversation, and my kid storms off mad because why am I never on their side? And John was like, hey, Lori, sometimes we just need to know that our mom is for us, that our mom has our back, that our mom supports us. We don't need the truth, right? And so the next time my kid came up and they were like, oh, this happened at school. And I was like, want me to go cut a bitch? Let's do this. Let's go. Right. And of course, my kid was like, no. But in that moment, they felt loved because I had their back. They didn't need my spiritual righteousness, they needed my love. Right. And this is what we're talking about in the New Testament. The law is what is right and wrong. Love says what level of consciousness is somebody else in and what do they need to hear in order to feel the experience of love. It's very different, guys. It's very different. Right? Like I talked about, I think it was yesterday or the day before. In my container of coaching, we don't candy coat anything. Shit is shit. We call it shit. We deal with it. Outside of the container, I don't walk up to people and say some of the things that I say to my clients. Why? Because one, they didn't ask for that. They didn't sign up for this, right? This is like hard truth, hard accountability. This is, I just want you to feel loved. Now, do these people feel loved by the accountability? Yes, but they asked for that level of accountability. These people didn't ask for that level of accountability. Therefore, what love is to them is different than what love is to them. Two different consciousnesses. Do you guys get that? Two different consciousnesses. Therefore, what I provide for this consciousness as love is different than what I provide for this consciousness as love. Both are love, two totally different things, but both are love based on what? Levels of consciousness. Yes? Cool. Seeing that many glory after the flesh. Okay. For ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourself are wise. For ye suffer. If a man brings you into bondage, if a man devours you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face, I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, wherewithin soever any is bold, I speak foolishly, I am bold also. Okay, guys, here is, I love this. Proverbs talks a lot about like functioning and how to deal with foolishness. Foolishness is not wrongness. Foolishness is immatureness. Okay. So if a person's over here going, oh, it's sinful to eat pork, and you have a level of maturity knowing that it's not about the pork, it's about your heart condition, it's about the relationship, right? It's not about the pork. Is it about the pork in this consciousness? Yes. Is that truth in this consciousness? Yes. Is that love in this consciousness? Yes. And then I evolve. And as the one who has evolved in love, now, guys, oh, so good. I can evolve in consciousness and not evolve in love. I can evolve in my experience of the mysteries of earth. I can evolve in my ability to play music. I can evolve in my wisdom. I can evolve in these things, but that doesn't necessarily mean I evolve in love. If, however, I desire to evolve in love, and if you're here in this container, that is your desire. You don't want consciousness for consciousness sake. You want Christ consciousness, which is love. Okay. So as we evolve in love, now I can look back and go, oh, okay. Now here's what this last statement looks like, right? I'm over here eating pork, maybe pork rinds, because that's funny. And somebody comes over and goes, oh my gosh, you're such a sinner. You're such a piece of shit because you're eating pork rinds, blah, 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 blah. I can't believe you. You're so ridiculous. Right. And now to me, they look foolish. Yes. But if I'm willing to be in love, I could go, oh, you know what? I'm sorry I ate this pork in front of you. I'm gonna stop eating the pork because being in relationship with the person. Now, I don't go, oh yeah, you're right. I'm stupid. You're smart, and I just won't eat pork anymore. And yep, okay, I'm a jerk for eating pork in front of you. It's not what I'm saying. In love, from love, I say, you know what? If if this is a stumbling block for you, I don't have to eat pork right now. Or I might say, I don't have to eat pork. I leave out the right now. Depends on how volatile this person is, right? But I'm not trying to unfoolishness them. I'm not trying to pull them out of their foolishness. Yes. Now, here's the difference. If I'm in a friendship with somebody, or like we've talked about before, my clients, I'm pulling them out of foolishness. Why? Because of the relationship that we have, the level of consciousness that they're in. The desire is to be pulled out of the foolishness. This person doesn't know they're foolish. Therefore, I'm not going to try to pull them out of their foolishness that they don't even know they're in. Some relationships, people desire to go, I wonder where I'm foolish. I want to be pulled out of that. Some people are like, I'm not foolish. You're foolish. Don't try to pull them out of their foolishness. They don't know they're being foolish, which means the state of consciousness that they're in is right where they are supposed to be. But you, if you have an evolved consciousness in love, now you can uh, assess what the conversation is. How do you respond? Yes? Okay. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in the labors, more abundant, in stripes above measure, in the prisons more frequently, in death often. Of the Jews, 5 times I received 40 stripes, save one, 40 stripes, save one, whatever. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. In journeying awesome, in peril of waters, in peril of robbers, in peril by mine's own courtmen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watching, often in hunger and thirst, in fasting, often in cold and nakedness. Besides those things that are without that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Okay, guys, what he's trying to say in all of this is all of this has brought him to where he is, which is why he has the wisdom that he has. Here's why I have the wisdom. And none of that actually matters when he's dealing with somebody who doesn't understand. None of this matters when we're dealing with somebody who doesn't understand. Oh, but I've been through this and this is why I'm wise. Who cares? Who cares? To them, you're foolish. Be foolish. Who cares? Why are you trying to prove your rightness? Because if you're in right standings, there's nothing to prove. Because the one thing that makes you in right standings is the one thing that validates you. You don't need external validation anymore. Yeah? Doesn't matter what you've been through. Let go of needing that external validation. Not let go of needing validation. You're getting your validation, but it's from the rightness of you, not from external. Okay. Who is weak? And I am not weak. Who is offended? And I am burned not. But I must need glory. I will glory of the things which concern my infirmities. The God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is blessed forevermore, knoweth that I lie not. What did we just say? Internal validation. Are you validated by God, or are you needing external validation? Oh, look at me. Look at how I've been wounded. You should make it better. You're already in right standings. You're already in right standings. You don't have to be a victim anymore. You don't need to have anything from here. You just receive from him. You get to be a receiver without being a victim. Ooh, that's powerful. That was good. Okay. In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, Artias, whatever, the king, Aretas, the king kept the city of it's like Damascus, but it's like Damascenus, with a garrison desirous to apprehend me. That was a lot of words. And through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall and escaped his hand. Okay, all of that, guys, regardless of what's going on around you externally, right? If you trust that God's taking care of you, he will. Even in our ego, right? No, you need to see what all I've been through and why I'm so wise. Screw that. Does God know you're wise? Let that be good enough. Let that be enough. 2 Corinthians 12. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to the visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ above 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. God knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. Oh man, guys, I love this conversation. Because okay, a little bit of a side note, just because it's fun. Every religion has some truth. Every religion has some humanness. If we go looking for the truth, the absoluteness of it, right? I think about some religions that talk about different levels of heaven. And some religions go, that's not true. Okay, but look, it just said that in the book. It just said that there's 3 caught up in the third heaven. So there's got to be truth to it. Now, is it literal heaven like these people believe? Well, probably not, because they believe in a particular kind of heaven that is their reality. What if you let them believe in 3 heavens and you believe in your one heaven and you just love each other? What? 2 opposing religions loving each other? We need to know what truth is. Guess what truth is? Love. This is Christ consciousness. Because the different levels of consciousness will reveal different truths. But there is one absolute truth, which is called the law of love. The law and the law of love. There's the law, and then there is love. The law of love. Ooh, okay. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years. Okay. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell, God knoweth, how that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which it is not unlawful for a man to utter. Of such an one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to do, or that he hath of me, unless I should be exalted above measure. Okay. I really wanted more context to that because God's like saying, hey, say this. And I'm like, oh, but I feel like sometimes I'm not talking about what's actually in the verses. And God's like, the verses are just the excuse to give you awareness for something to say that gives life. Okay. Um, uh, Basically, what I feel like God's saying about all of this collectively is really this idea that mind your own business. Okay. Whether somebody says, I've been to the third heaven, great. Great that you've been to the third heaven. If you've never been to the third heaven, then that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It doesn't mean something's not true about them, right? It just means that you're in different levels of consciousness. And whoever has the higher level of consciousness has the greater responsibility. Now, we don't always like step into that greater responsibility. What is that responsibility? The ability to respond. How do we do that? In love, right? So if I don't take the greater ability to respond, then I'm functioning from my spiritual righteousness and not love. Right? So I can elevate to the peak point of the third heaven, the third level of consciousness, and never actually step into Christ consciousness, which is the third. Hold, please. Depending on, because in our model of consciousness, there's 3 and 4 phases. 3 being a black phase, a white phase, and a red phase. But the white phase has 2 separate phases, if you will. It's still a right and a wrong, or a good and an evil, or a human and a spirit, but one is external, one's internal. This is fully human. This is fully spirit. This is human and spirit from the perspective of our cognitive functioning. Okay. But this is spiritually external, spiritually internal. If you're geeking out over what that is, make a comment and we'll shoot you a picture of our model that we teach from. And again, guys, it's not right. It's not right. There's nothing right about anything I'm saying. Nothing at all. No rightness. I know nothing. Has it helped me love Weller? Yes. That's all I care about. Loving Weller. Don't want to be right. Okay. And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. There's lots of theological talk about what was the thorn, what was the thing, why didn't God remove it? All of the, like, it was a sickness, it was this, it was that. I'm not trying to be right. Okay. I'm just saying this is what I understand in order to love Weller. It's not right. But the way that I see that really is my human part of me. I'm 100% spirit and 100% human. My human part of me is the thorn. And in recognizing that my human body will always lack, there's a time frame in my human body. My human body might get sick. My human body might get broken. My human body will always lack in its ability to truly, fully, cognitively understand this thing called God. And grace, God's grace, my grace for my human says, oh, it's supposed to lack. No problem, because the fact that my human lacks is why I plug in. The fact that my human lacks is the indicator. Oh, yay, I get to plug in. Now I don't have to use my human finite, limited resources. I can actually plug into the infinite, eternal resources of God in my lacking human. Good stuff, right? Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproach, in necessities, in persecution, in disaster. For Christ's sake, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Guys, this doesn't mean that Paul sat there going, I have to beat myself. I have to self-flog. I have to beat myself up. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, I'm actually okay with being human and all that comes with being human. Why? Well, because I know how to plug in. I know how to get infinite, eternal resources into this finite, limited body. And when my body is weak, last week when I was sick, guess what? Man, did I spend time praying and meditating and being at the feet of Jesus. And my ability to know my plugged inness increased. If, however, my human were like, ooh, I can do this all on my own. I can get this done. Could I? Yeah. Is it exhausting? Yeah. Is it overwhelming? Probably. Do I wear out? Yeah. Lame. Maybe I just plug in and let my human come along for the ride. Good stuff, right, guys? I am become a fool in glorying, yet have compelled me, for I ought to have been condemned of you, for in nothing I am behind. The very chiefest apostle, though I be nothing, truly the signs of an apostle were wrought. I forget what that one means. To work fully. Okay. Truly, the signs of an apostle were to work fully among you in all patience, in signs and wonders and mighty deeds. For what is it wherein ye were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me this wrong. Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. For I seek not yours, but you, for the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. Okay, let me go back up here. Becoming a full glory, blah, blah, compelled. Um, for in nothing I am behind the very chiefest apostle. We sometimes think that our human needs to be in a certain place. But if we recognize we can't be behind, because if we're plugged in, regardless of what we think our human should be or saying or having based on, well, I know this, but if we only cognitively know it, then we're not embodying it. And the embodying it is based on Christ timing, consciousness timing, right? So we can't be behind because all of that is regulated by what? Destiny. Do I have free choice in how I experience it? Yes. So can I be somewhere and go, it might look like I'm behind, but I'm not behind because God's in control. Yep. Cool, right? And so truly the signs of an apostle were fully active among you in all patience and signs and wonders and mighty deeds. Okay, this might not be literal again, but this is what I feel like God is like bringing up in this. You are called, and again, context. Let's talk about the whole Second Corinthians, right? Because what have we been talking about? You've been given gifts. Just use your gifts. Be plugged in. You're exactly where you're supposed to be when you know you're in right standings. Whatever that glorification of God in you will be different than someone else's glorification, right? I don't personally, again, I talked about this in the very beginning of our Bible study. I've seen legs grow. I've talked to people who have had experiences where people were raised from the dead, where tumors disappeared. Like, I believe all of that is possible and true and all of that. I don't really care because my purpose on this planet is to speak freedom. I don't care if your legs are the same length if you're still in bondage in your mind. Now, some people might have a leg grow and get freedom of mind. Great, fantastic, wonderful. But again, I may not see physical signs and wonders, but I watch people shift energetically. And to me, I'm like, yes. But it might seem like, whoa, but you're not making legs grow and blah, 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 blah. Well, because I don't really care. Do you guys get this? This doesn't like eliminate the wrongness, eliminate the Lori doesn't care. Do I want you to have two good legs? Not as much as I want your mind to be free. Because ask Nick Kavojkovic, right? He doesn't have arms or legs. Yet he's free here, therefore, right? So if I'm only focused on the human and I'm like, ooh, I need to make his arms and legs grow, but I don't care about this, to me, somebody else might want to watch his arms and legs grow. That might be why they came to the planet. It's not why I came to the planet, right? He's not going, oh, I'm free in my mind, but I still lack because I don't have arms and legs. I'm pretty sure he's not thinking that. He's like, I'm fucking this shit up. Well, he wouldn't because, he probably doesn't talk like that. Only Lori talks, not only Lori, but I mean, I was making kind of a joke. Lori's the one who likes to teach the Bible and use the fuck word. Not everybody likes to do that. Some people do. Other people do. Not just Lori. I was making a little bit of a joke though. Okay. Here's my point. He doesn't think he's behind because he doesn't have arms and legs. Now, somebody else might think they're behind because they don't have arms and legs. Do you get that? Same experience or same physical stuff, two different experiences. This is what we're talking about in the power of consciousness. Okay. For what is it wherewithin ye were inferior to other churches? I already read that. Okay, behold the third time. Okay, I already read that. And I will very gladly spend and be spent for you, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. But it is so. I do not burden you. Nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you with guile. I caught you with meaning to compare. That is what crafty, subtle, craft, deceit. Okay, let me reread that. Did I make gain of you by any of them whom I sent? Oops, wait, wrong verse. But be it so, I did not burden you, nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you with guile. Did I make again of you by any of them whom I sent unto you? I desired Titus, and with him I sent a brother. Did Titus make a gain of you? Walked we not in the same spirit? Walked we not in the same steps? Again, think ye that we excuse ourselves unto you? We speak before God in Christ, but we do all things, dearly beloved, for your edifying. Okay, again, guys, I don't understand all of the nuances in all of this, but the bottom line that I feel like God is like expressing is, guess what? Mind your own business, right? If you are in right standings before God, sometimes people are going to look at things that you do and go, they're being manipulative. That's deceitful. Well, that's other people's opinion. And when you're in right standings before God and you are doing the best you can now, hear me well. There has to be a balance, right? If 1,000 people are going, you're a little jacked up, and you're going, nope, I'm in right standings before God, and you never actually go, God, could they be right? Could they be seeing something that I'm not seeing? Now, God could go, no, you're totally in right standings. And we could go, okay, great. Right. But if we're not willing to ask the question, right? And Paul was pretty like squared up. Okay. For I fear lest when I come, I shall not find you such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as ye would not, lest there be debate, envying, wrath, strifes, backbiting, whispering, swelling, tumults. Okay. Unless when I come again, my God will humble me. Okay. Okay, guys, if there is debate and envying and wrath and backbiting and swelling and tumultuousness, good indicator we're not plugged in. Good indicator we're not honoring other people's consciousnesses, right? Again, if I can look at somebody and go, ooh, they're in a consciousness that they believe what they believe is true and right, I cannot do the backbiting and whispering and swelling and debating and all the things. I can be in love, right? So, as someone more mature, I have a greater responsibility to honor where somebody else is in their consciousness, right? Maturity that we're talking about has less to do with my level of consciousness and more to do with my level of love. Because even in a lesser consciousness, i.e., maybe I'm still in like a religious right and wrong, but I can love somebody by going, oh, you know what? You might think you're an alien. I'll honor that. I don't know. But they're living in their level of consciousness as far as seeing the wholeness of how the law works. Yes. So basically, I feel like Paul is saying, um, like, this is the warning of where you're functioning. Be aware. Where are you functioning? And when I come to see you, I hope you're not functioning in this. If you are, guess what? No problem. Here, I'll give you some more insight. I'll love you some more so that you can recognize all you have to do is plug in. And now you don't have to be right because you're already in right standings. Yeah. Unless when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and that I shall bewail. Let's see what that means. Mourn. Where am I? That I shall bewail many which have sinned already and have not repented of the uncleanliness and fornication and lasciviousness. I totally don't think I said that word right. Means lustful. It means not plugged in, which they have committed. And again, guys, I just said that, right? Paul's like, dude, I get it, right? It's no problem. Like if we're living in that, it's no problem. Because then somebody will come along and remind us that all we have to do is get plugged in. And then all of that goes away. When we're plugged in, that doesn't exist. When I'm plugged in, I'm not in lust. I'm not in fornication. I'm not in all the things that were up there, whispering, backbiting. It like this is the result of not being plugged in. So if this is happening in your life, you're not plugged in. No worries. Just plug in. And all of this goes away. Just like Satan becomes an angel of light. Plug in, all of this is gone instantaneously. Plug in, gone. Plug in, gone. Plug in, I won't want to backbite. Plug in, I won't want to fornicate. Plug in. Now, when I say fornicate, I don't mean have sex. I mean like desire something that isn't God. Like, okay, rephrasing that too. There's lots that I desire in my human, but not more than I desire God. When I'm plugged in, I can desire all this freely because this is what matters. This is my strength. All of this is just the cherry on top, right? And all of this being the physical desires, right? But I'm not doing all of this when I'm plugged in from that place of need. I'm doing all this from the cherry on top because I'm in overflow of being plugged in. Yeah, cool. All right, guys, I think there's only 13 chapters. Oh, yeah. So either later today, I don't know. I know I still haven't put up a schedule for you guys because I locked my calendar in the car and I couldn't look at it. So I will have something for you this afternoon for sure. But I might pop on this evening. I'm not sure yet. But we'll do 2 Corinthians 13. And then guess what, guys? I love Galatians Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. There's some of my faves. So we'll go into that, but we'll definitely finish 2 Corinthians next time. 2 Corinthians 13. All right, guys, have a great day. I adore you.